We are ranking every single Call of Duty multiplayer map in each game from worst to best. We started with Black Ops 6, then we went to Black Ops 2, then Ghosts, then Modern Warfare 3 2022, then Black Ops 4, then Vanguard, then Infinite Warfare, then World at War, then Modern Warfare Remastered, then Advanced Warfare, and then World War II. That was part 11. Now today is part 12, and we are going to be ranking all 26 Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 2009, the original Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer maps from worst to best. I did go back and play against bots, but I really didn't have to. I just did it because I kind of wanted to, but because these are classic maps, man, they will never leave my memory. And on top of that, we pretty much already ranked all these maps when we did the Modern Warfare 3 video because it remastered almost all of these besides like the DLC ones. Like, for example, Fuel I don't think was in Modern Warfare 3, the new Modern Warfare 3. But yeah, these are all 26 of the original Modern Warfare 2 2009 multiplayer maps from worst to best. Next video will probably be on Black Ops Cold War, I'm thinking. I don't know why, I just kind of I'm feeling it in my gut. I'm feeling doing it next, so that's probably gonna be the one. By the way, I want to make this very clear. This is all personal opinion, and I am a very casual player, so this is no sort of competitive opinion here on like which map is the best competitive wise that gives both teams the best advantage overall in the game. Like I'm not a guy like that. I'm not the guy to watch if you do want to watch content. I watch like Scump or something if that's what you're looking for, because he's obviously much better than I am. So I'm mainly just basing this on like vibes and how they play. Like a lot of these videos, I'm just like, yeah, I really enjoy that map. It's fun every time it pops up. I really like playing it. So that's pretty much what we're doing. And then we're splitting it up into 6 tiers: the awful tier, bad tier, mediocre tier, good tier, amazing tier, and the best tier. Song of the day is called Sweet Child of Mine by Guns N' Roses. It's a classic rock song. Chances are you've heard of it. I highly doubt you haven't heard this song yet, but if you haven't, go give it a listen. It's an absolute beast. Without further ado, let's go right into it with number 25, my least favorite map in the original Modern Warfare 2. And that, my friends, is Wasteland. A lot of people think that just because it's a classic OG map that it's automatically gotta be good, because you probably have good nostalgic memories on these maps. No, that is not the case. Modern Warfare 2 2009 had some absolute stinkers, had some poopers, and Wasteland is one of them. I hate Wasteland. For people that thought that freaking Santasenia border crossing was a horrible map, that map was horrible, don't get me wrong. Like, when we do the Modern Warfare 2019 ranking, or actually, was that 2022? I think it was 2022. Yeah, so when we do Modern Warfare 2022 ranking video, that will probably be one of the worst in the games. Play Wasteland, though. Wasteland was horrendous. You got a dude with an LMG posted up with a thermal scope, and you just couldn't see him half the time, and he could see you, and he would just mow you down. A lot of people think it was good because I used to saw videos of people getting easy nukes on this map. Yeah, that was possible if you were the one getting the nuke, but if you weren't, it was the most frustrating experience of all time because there was no cover, and this was back in the day where there was pretty much no spawn protection against kill streaks either, so you would just get mowed down immediately after spawning. Wasteland sucked. Wasteland is horrible. It has never been fun. 25th place isn't much better, but at least you had some sort of protection from kill streaks, and it wasn't like an easiest nuke fest of all time. Strike. As a matter of fact, I just want to go back to Wasteland real quick. I know I mentioned it for a whole minute there, but if a Wasteland match didn't end in a nuke, that was a good Wasteland match. Either way, Strike is horrible. Strike is so boring. It's a Middle Eastern country with just like a bunch of alleyways. In terms of how it plays, it doesn't play like horribly, I guess, but it is way too large for sure. And it's a very slow map, slow paced map. There's not that many confrontations you'll get into. The most confrontation you'll get into is like somebody will accidentally step on your foot and it'll be your own teammate and you'll be like, hey, cut that out. I just bought these. These are new J's. Stop stepping on my feet. That's like pretty much the entirety of the map. It's just too boring and too long. And then the design is just the most boring of all. Like, it's literally just some Middle Eastern town. Speaking of incredibly boring map designs, 24th place is going to Invasion. Invasion is exactly the same, man. It's just a massive, wide open Middle Eastern town. Again, this is another one of those maps where it's like, for those people that are like, oh, it's a classic OG game, the maps have to be good, right? No, Invasion was not fun. I've never enjoyed Invasion, and I never will enjoy Invasion. It's too large, so again, most of the time, the ultimate confrontation you're going to get into is like, you accidentally got pickles on your McDouble and you didn't ask for those, so you're going to go back inside. That's like the absolute worst that you're going to get in Invasion. It just wasn't fun. I didn't enjoy it. Coming in at 23rd place, and the final one for the awful tier before we move along into the bad tier, is Derail. Derail, it's a cool design, I'll give it that. It's not the most, boring design of all time, like Invasion and Strike, just being in the middle of a random Middle Eastern country. This was a snowy world, probably Russian, if I had to guess. I can't remember right now, but it was probably a Russian country. And there was a train that derailed. And so there was a bunch of like military goods all over the place. And us being the freaking vultures that we are, went there to go grab them, I guess. And it's just too big again. That's the big downside again. Most of the maps that are in the awful or bad tier in this game are here because they're just too large, and so a lot of the times you'll just get campers, and it's just such camper heavy maps, and Derail's one of those, unfortunately. But now we are into the bad tier, and most of these maps, they're pretty much, the best way I can describe it is they're kind of the same in terms of like, they're just too freaking large, like the awful tier maps were, but at least these ones have something separating them. 22nd place is Estate. Dude, I don't know what it is with Estate, but Estate gets this like good rep within the community. Like a lot of people I feel like Estate. I've always hated Estate. If you spawned on the bottom of the hill in Estate, it was absolute domination for the enemy team, because just spawning on the side with the Estate gave them the high ground immediately and just let them just lay the hurt down on you 24/7. It was horrible. It's so wide open. There's pretty much no cover for you to get to either if you do spawn on the bottom. It was a very, very bad experience if you went up against a semi-decent team. 21st place is kind of very, very similar to Estate, actually, in the sense of if you spawned on the side that was lower on the hill, you pretty much got demolished. Rundown, the good part about Rundown though is it did have cover. The bad part about Rundown though compared to Estate is the setting. Estate was at least a cool setting. Rundown was a very boring setting. It was yet again just another Middle Eastern town. Like, it's just kind of boring, but at least you could get out of your horrible spawn trap. Unlike Estate, it was almost impossible if you started getting spawn trapped to get out of it. Rundown you can, because there is more cover and stuff like that, but again, it's very hard if you spawn on the bottom of Rundown. Breaking its way into the top 20, however, is the first DLC map of this game, Fuel. Fuel was not good. I'm just gonna put it out there, man. I've never enjoyed Fuel. Fuel is probably one of the most horrible maps to look at when you're playing the game, because it's got so much just tan. It's just desert sand over and over and over again. The setting's okay, but it's not anything that I'm gonna write home about. As a matter of fact, I'm not gonna write home about any Call of Duty map, because they couldn't care less about Call of Duty maps. But either way, Fuel is just not one that in particular I'm not gonna write home about. Like, it's just boring. Coming in at 19th place, however, in the final one for the bad tier before we move into the average tier, is Favela. Favela is pretty bad, but at least it's like a semi-fair fight, in my opinion. If no matter what side you spawn on, you can get the high ground for sure on the roof of the favela on one of the spawns, and you can kind of cut off enemies, but you're really wide open, and so it's kind of hard to stay up there and really like lay the hurt down if the other team is doing good. The design is also pretty cool. Fighting on top of favelas and stuff like that is obviously a pretty cool interpretation, and they brought this map back multiple times, and almost every time it plays better than the last, because with more movement the maps seem like they get at least smaller and smaller, and so it plays better. But now we are into the average tier. So maps in this tier, man, hey, I'm not gonna be like they're the best map in Call of Duty history, but at the same time, I'm not gonna leave the lobby, right? If people vote for it. In 18th place is going to Corey. I kind of lied. I'd probably leave the lobby if they voted for Corey. I'm not the biggest fan of Corey. It's a quarry. That's what the map is. It's in terms of design choices, it's obviously very boring. In terms of playstyle, it is definitely, again, too large. But overall, it plays a lot better than the other ones, because there's just no, I mean, you can spawn trap, but it's not going to be as easy as the other Get maps for sure. Coming in at 17th place, however, is going to Salvage, another DLC map here. Salvage, I never really had any gripes with Salvage. At the same time, though, I was never really excited to play in Salvage. It was just like a map where it was like, if it came up, it was okay. I kind of liked the idea of, you know, you're obviously fighting in a salvage yard, so it's that setting is pretty cool, but I don't really get why the salvage yard was snowy. Is it a Russian salvage yard? I guess it is, but like, why? Why wasn't it just a regular Russian yard? I mean, I'm not complaining, because let me explain. Like, having different colored maps in this game was definitely something that a breath of fresh air when most of the maps were just sand. But it was a little weird. Coming in at 16th place, and the final one for the average tier before we move into the good tier, is Bailout. Bailout, it was another like city setting, but you were kind of fighting at like a hotel, or maybe even just like a motel, some sort of resort there, because it had that pool in the back of it. It was fun. I enjoyed the layout of Bailout. I enjoyed the setting. It was okay and everything like that. But again, it's another one of those maps where it's like, every time I think about Bailout, I'm not popping a stiffy. You know what I'm saying? I'm not pitching any tents over here. As a matter of fact, we're going home, or we're not camping at all, because it's just so forgettable. Unfortunately, it's just so average, and that's why it's in the average tier. But now we are into the good tier. So maps in these tiers are pretty freaking fun. If they pop up in rotation, I'll vote for them over most of the other maps that we talked about, but I'm not going to vote for them over obviously the best. In 15th place is Afghan. Afghan, a crashed plane in the middle of an Afghanistan desert. It's, again, obviously, you know, really sandy. It's very tan design choice, which is, again, kind of boring. But at least the setting is different from just like a regular Afghanistan town to at least like a Afghanistan mountain range, and there's an airplane there, and there's a couple of buildings, but they're just like kind of little tiny farms and stuff like that. And so the setting is at least better. And then it plays okay. It's a really, again, another map where it's, a lot of Modern Warfare 2 maps were like this actually, where if you got the high ground, you could really demolish, and that's another one, but it felt a lot better. Coming in at 14th place, unfortunately, does not get the setting down at all. The setting in this map is horrendous, but it gets the gameplay down really well. Karachi. Karachi is super freaking fun, man. I've always loved playing Karachi. I just wish it was like a better design, man. Like, why was every map in this game of just Middle Eastern town? I don't get it. I mean, I do get it. You know, this was still when they were going for realism, like mainly just realism. And so all they cared about was making it very realistic to like what was going on in the real world. And there was a lot of war in the Middle East at the time. And so I get why they were doing that, but like, dude, this setting is just so boring, and it really hinders Karachi, because Karachi plays awesomely. It really is a good design map. I love how it's designed. The idea of the rooftops being accessible to everybody, but giving a pretty massive advantage on the high grounds means that, yeah, you could get spawn trapped, but that's nobody's fault but your own team's, because, again, you have access to those roofs as well. And so it was really, really well made. Coming in at 13th place is what the high school... what the high schoolers used to call my, whatever. I was going to try and make a pun about like pubic hairs, but it's Overgrown. Overgrown is a beast. All right, it's a good map. It's just an iconic map. I'm sorry, I'm still trying to think of that pun. It was in my mind, but I can't think of it anymore, man. It's bad. Either way, Overgrown was an okay map for Modern Warfare, original Modern Warfare, and it was okay in this game as well. It was fun. It was just, I like the design. You know, at least it wasn't again another boring old, you know, Middle Eastern city, but it was definitely a little bit too large, especially the entire right side of the map, man. If you went over to the right side of the map, the giant field there, the giant like farm, you could just get sniped for days. 12th place is going to one of the most overrated maps of all time, especially in this freaking game, Rust. Rust is been brought back like 7,000 times at this point, and every time it kind of gets better and better from the last one because they make it more and more visible. In Modern Warfare 2 2009, it was like next to impossible to see within 10 feet in front of you in Rust. You might as well have been playing blind. As a matter of fact, if you were like playing as a blind person, you would have just as good as luck at getting a kill on Rust as you would a regular person, because it was just so hard to see people, man. It was so like sandy, and it's just, it's obviously the small map of the game, and everybody likes the small maps because it's the most action packed, and I do too. But back in 2009, the graphics were not the best on Rust. Coming in at 11th place, however, and right out of the top 10 there is Underpass. Underpass gets way too much hate. People hate freaking Underpass, and they think it's way too big. I agree that Underpass is definitely a very large map, but it doesn't feel that large because there's so many lines of sights to like cause chaos within the whole map. And it's not, you can, I guess, I mean, realistically in Modern Warfare 2, you could run any weapon and do pretty well with it. But Underpass was definitely one of those ones where if you're using an SMG or a shotgun, you're definitely going to struggle a little bit more than people that are using ARs, LMGs, and snipers. And it was a good map. I always loved Underpass. And then the setting was really cool. Like the rain going on during the map was awesome. But breaking its way into the top 10 and the final one for the good tier before we move into the amazing tier is Trailer Park. Trailer Park is another small map. Have they ever brought back Trailer Park actually? Now that I think about it, I don't think they've ever brought Trailer Park back. And that's actually a crime because Trailer Park has always been like pretty good small map, and I feel like everybody loves small maps, and that's what Trailer Park is. Obviously, it's set in a trailer park. Spoiler alert, I know it's probably a bit of a plot twist there, but yeah, you're in a trailer park when you're fighting in this map. Setting is different, and that's saying something. This is when the DLC in this game is when they, in my opinion, they first started to be like, hey, you know what, maybe we don't have to be super serious, and a map like Trailer Park was one of those. Like, fighting in Trailer Park is obviously not super realistic to real war, and it was a fun experience, man. It does feel a little bit cluttered, though, because it's Trailer Park. But coming in at 9th place in the first one for the amazing tier is going to Skid Row. Skid Row is just awesome. I love Skid Row. The fact that Skid Row hasn't been remastered like 17 times is mind-boggling. In terms of design, it is just a kind of another city, but at least it's not a Middle Eastern city where you can't freaking see anything because it's all the sand in front of you. So that was a lot better. I enjoyed that. And then the map just plays freaking well, man. There are long range of sights for sure where people can hold down some tight angles. Don't get me wrong, but that's not the majority of the map, like Derail or something. Or Derail's like the entire map is freaking long range engagements. Skid Row just played really, really well. Coming in at 8th place is another remastered Modern Warfare original map, Storm, which is Pipeline. It's a Pipeline from the original Modern Warfare, but it's got a storm going on this time. I'm going to be 100% honest with you guys. I kind of always thought that Pipeline was raining already, but I guess I had a horrible misrepresentation of what Pipeline was. Either way, Storm is Pipeline is a fun map. You remaster it into Modern Warfare 2, it's going to be a fun map. And this time, they did that, but added some storm rain going on, and that's okay. Coming in at 7th place is one of the more iconic maps of Modern Warfare 2, High Rise. High Rise was iconic because of snipers. Snipers would get insane clips on High Rise and post them to YouTube because it was the best map for sure for getting cool little clips with your sniper rifles, because there were so many little like snipers nests on this map that you could jump off of and do 720s and switch your gun 3 times for some reason, and then prep a tactical grenade, but then put it back in your pocket. Psych, haha, I pranked you there, buddy, and do all the spins and moves that the snipers do. And so that was cool, and it honestly, this map pretty much sparked the entire trickshotting community by single-handedly, which is awesome. That's cool, and it's still a fun map. I just do think it is a little bit not the best if you want to play anything except for sniper rifles, which is fine, and that's why it's still in the amazing tier, because there are maps out there where I think they should be like that, you know, having a map where this is a sniper's map, this is a sniper paradise. Having a map where snipers can really thrive is fine. Coming in at 6th place, however, is another Modern Warfare 1 remaster. It's ironic that most of the Modern Warfare 1 remasters are up towards the top of this list. It's Crash. Crash from Modern Warfare was great. It has been remastered, in my opinion, a little bit too many times now, but it's still really fun in pretty much every instance that it gets. And in Modern Warfare 2, it was fun as well. The only downside being that, you know, in Modern Warfare 2, it's for some reason super hard to see within 10 feet in front of you, and for some reason that also happened on Crash. I don't really understand why, but that's just how it is. Either way, yeah, Crash plays well. In case you haven't played Crash already, it's pretty much just the sight of a helicopter crash. It really mimics the movie Black Hawk Down, in case you've never watched that, where, yeah, you're fighting pretty much over control of the helicopter, since it's right in the middle of the map. Coming in at 5th place, however, and the final one for the amazing tier before we move on into the best tier, is Carnival. Carnival is another DLC map that's pretty small. It's set, obviously, in a carnival, and it plays really, really well. Again, another map where it's like, as far as I can recall, they've never remastered it, and that's a massive crime. I'm just gonna put it out there. If they haven't, maybe they have, and I'm just not thinking of it right now, and I'm drawing a blank here. But as far as I can remember, they've never remastered Carnival, and this map was so much fun, man. It's obviously not super realistic or anything, but we don't need that. This game already had a bunch of realistic maps. Adding maps that were fun and had like cool things to look at and stuff while fighting was cool, and Carnival was one of those. But now we are into the best tier, and coming in at 4th place is probably the hot take of the list, because it's going to Sub Base. Dude, Sub Base is awesome. I'm just gonna put it out there. I've always loved Sub Base. Is it probably more higher than it should be on my list? Absolutely. I guarantee on most people's lists, Sub Base probably would be right around in the good tier, maybe even in the average tier. In my list, it's in the best tier. I love Sub Base. I really can't put a finger on why. First of all, snow maps are obviously pretty cool, and Sub Base is a snow map, but I love the layout of this map. It's a big, like, it's weird because it's a big map, and so you would think, oh, you're not going to get a lot of action, but you do, because obviously what happens is people go on top of the 2 buildings, and they have, like, battles across the freaking middle area there the entire time, and it's just so much fun, man. You have to play it to believe it. Coming in at 3rd place, though, is going to the GOAT. This is before this map was remastered 1,700 times. Terminal. Terminal, back when it first was released, at least, was a cool freaking map. Is it the best map ever made? No, not in my opinion. But it was good back in the day. At this point, yeah, again, I think they have remastered Terminal way too much. And the fact that Rust is a map that, like, people took away from this game as, like, the best small map and, like, the most enjoyable map is honestly really crazy to me. Like I said, I put Rust in my good tier. It's a good map, but it's nowhere near the best. Terminal was always one that, like, that one, it's always just been really good. It's just so much fun. It's just a perfect layout, in my opinion. And again, I've mentioned it multiple times now, but I'll mention it one more time. Yes, I know, this map has been remastered way more often than it should have. But at the time, it was an original new map, and so I think it deserves 3rd place. Coming in at 2nd place, however, is going to be going to a Modern Warfare original remastered map, Vacant. I've ranked Vacant as my favorite map from COD 4. and it's my second favorite map in this game. Vacant is gonna go down in history as one of my favorite maps of all time. I freaking love Vacant. I don't really know why. Obviously, it's a clear, you know, benefit for SMG and shotgun players. You know, if you're using close range combat weapons, this map is really good for you, but it doesn't mean you can only use those weapons. There are plenty of hallways that are very long range engagements, and snipers and ARs and LMGs can really thrive there. And the entire left half, both half of the maps, only really the center of the map is really close quarters. The left and right sides are perfect ranges for snipers and whatever. It is just such a cool designed map, and it plays so well. But first place, my favorite Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 original 2009 map, and one of my favorite maps of all time, is Scrapyard. Scrapyard is freaking perfect, man. There's really not much I would change about this map, man. I love every single part of it. There's like, I'm honestly trying to think, and I genuinely cannot think of anything about this map that's like bad, like something that I would change. One thing I do want to bring up though, dude, do you remember back when this was like Modern Warfare 2? Like, think about maps that are made nowadays. There's never any like cool little like snipers nests in maps. Remember maps like High Rise and Scrapyard, where like in the Scrapyard spawn you can get up onto those rafters and really look over the entire map as a sniper and everything? They used to do that with like COD maps all the time, and nowadays I feel like they never try doing that anymore, and it's really crazy. High Rise is the obvious one with all the cranes. Like, you can get on top of all these cranes and stuff, and as a sniper you could really lay down the hurt. But Scrapyard had that too, and Scrapyard was just so much freaking fun, man. There was tons of lines of sights where you could put the hurt down, but it was very hard to get spawn trapped on Scrapyard, because you could just come out, and since there was so many different lines of sights, you would just find one line of sight, pop the guy that's sitting there, because they're definitely going to be one that, because they have to be on pretty much every one of them, or else you're going to get out of spawn. So pop the guy sitting on that one line of sight, and then flood that line of sight, and you'd be out of spawn. And it's like, it's totally easy. It's such a good map. It's so incredible. They need to remaster this more, and the size is perfect too. It's a medium but perfect size. Like, it's not too small, not too large. This is like the shoot house before shoot house. But ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of today's video ranking all 26 Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 2009 multiplayer maps from worst to best. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel for more content just like these. Let me know what other videos I'd like to see in the comment section down below. And massive freaking thank you to you guys, by the way, because we are now sitting comfortably at a 43 subscribers in 22 videos. Literally last week, I think it was the Black Ops 4 video, so 2 weeks ago, my bad. 2 weeks ago, I was saying thank you guys for 7 subscribers, and now we're at 43. So you guys are literally blowing up the channel up, and it means the absolute world to me, man. You guys are incredible. Thank you guys so much from the bottom of my heart. I have other YouTube channels, and they've all gotten to a good, following at this point, and this is by far the fastest I've grown one. By far. So you guys are like the best community of it's awesome. You guys are great, is what I'm trying to say. So thank you guys so much. Okay, and obviously next video is going to be a ranking all maps until we finish all the maps video. But if anybody would like to see a certain one that I haven't done yet, let me know. I'm probably going to do Black Ops Cold War next. That's the one that's on my mind. But I can obviously, if somebody leaves a comment, I will happily do that one next instead. I do want to save Black Ops 1 for last. That's the only caveat, because Black Ops 1 is probably my favorite Call of Duty ever made, and I know those maps the most. I'm going to have the most to say about those maps in that game, so I want to save Black Ops 1 probably for last, but besides that, I'll do in any order that you guys would like to see. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it. Das Vidania, and have a nice night.